Hi, in this video we'll have a look at the fourth project in the sixth and last section of FreeCodeCamp. At this point they've added some more projects, but these are the projects that were in the curriculum when I did this, which is starting to be a few months ago really, quite a while. So there are a few more projects now, but as far as I've seen they are mostly Python related, so these are still the JavaScript ones. We'll be building a stock price checker in this video, and as help for that we actually have an app that they have built for us that's simply called the stock price checker proxy. And this here is simply a tool for us to access an API without having to rely on that API being open and free forever. So FreeCodeCamp have made it for us really to make sure that it's open and free forever. We'll be building a full CRUD functionality app, but the user will only ever be making requests, which is a bit strange because usually a full CRUD app will have a, well, you will be able to create, read, delete and update stuff obviously, but in this application the user will only ever get stuff, but by getting stuff they will also be creating and updating without knowing it, because we'll be doing that behind the scenes. And this project may also be the one that most resembles work in the real world as a developer of all the projects on FreeCodeCamp, because we'll be using an external API to build our own API and talk to it. So we'll have several APIs talking to each other, and that's basically what real world development, real web development is about. We talk to APIs of different kinds. So as usual, we'll start with just getting the repository. So we go here, we'll go to code, we'll just copy that, go to our VS Code here, and go for git clone and clone this. So, and when we've done that, we can just open that folder. So stock checker. So, and as usual, we have a lot of files here. We don't have to care about all of them. There are files that are simply FreeCodeCamp files that are here for some reason, and there are files that are glitch files that we don't need to use at all, and we also have the files that we need to use, but we need to have a few more files. So as we've done before, we need to go for an install npm install.env, and that's so that we can use an env file locally. So we just install that. And we'll also install another package that's called request. And this package is necessary for us to be able to make a request to, well, not necessarily this package, but a package like this is necessary for us to make a request to this external API and use that. So we'll be using a package called request. And it looks like this, and you can see that this has been deprecated, and that's not an issue for us. It would be if we were writing a modern app, but this wasn't actually deprecated when I used this, and since nothing in the code has changed since then, this is gonna work anyway. And this just allows us to make requests really. Anything else? No. Let's go back here. So we'll have to go into our package.js, and we've done that before in our earlier projects. And here we're just going to go ahead and add this line that we've added before. And this one is just as before, just to be able to run our functional tests that we have in here. And we don't need any unit tests at all. We need a few functional tests, but not a lot really. So this is going to go quite quickly with the testing. But we still need this line to be able to run the tests at all. And as dependencies, we're going to update some here. So we want to have Express, update that a little bit. We're going to have a little bit more modern body parser. We're going to have slightly more modern cores. .env we just installed, that's fine. And it should be the same with request, that's the latest one. Helmet is here, and that's quite a bit newer, like 19 versions newer, but still on the same mini version. MongoDB is important to update because the difference between the second version and the third version is quite big. So you need to update that. And that may actually be all we need to update. And after doing that, we'll just run an npm install just to get everything installed in our node modules. Right. We'll also need to have an EMA file, not inside of node modules though, so let's not do that. So, the EMA file, and while having that, we should also add a git ignore, just to have that. And in the git ignore, we're gonna ignore our EMA file and our node modules. So, and we can see that both are grayed out. In the EMA file, I want to make sure that I have my database connection, or my database connection string really, and you don't get to see that. And we're back. You do get to see this though. This is the server file. We've seen this before, we know how it works, and because of that I'm going to start with just replacing all of these bars for consts. This is a bit of a pet peeve. And we can see that we have Express, we have a body parser, we have Chai, we have cores, we don't have .env. We kind of need that. So let's just get that as well. Require .env .config, and that's the function. After that, we want to make sure that we have helmet as well. And that's as usual really, if we have a look at the product description. Right, we actually need to run stuff for that. Let's do that. And prem star. So, here we go. And the first one here, set the content security policies to only allow loading of scripts and CSS from your server. And to accomplish that, we need to require helmet, which we actually do, I think, already. No, but we need to use helmet. So we actually need to do both. We know that we have it though, because if we go to package.json, we can see that we have helmet here, but we're not using it at all. So we just jump down a bit here, go for const helmet is equal to require helmet, and that's not really enough because we also need to do a app.use, not const, because app is obviously Express, we know that from before. We require helmet here, but that's not using it. But if you also go for use this app here, which is Express, and use helmet in here, that should be enough to solve that. Because this one, we're solving this by using helmet straight off because it's included in helmet by default. So we can't just ignore that after that. If we go back here, we can see that we have a pretty standard file here. We have this index.html file, we've seen that before, we know what it does. We have the port that it's running on. We have this, let's see, we have routing, and because of that we should also go over to the routes here and have a look at what's in here. We have FCC testing, we can ignore that as usual, but we also have an API here, and this one is pretty much completely empty. Nothing does anything here. So that's going to be the next part. This was part 1, and here we've set up the project. But in part 2, we're actually going to set up the routes if there's only one stock passed in. Because that's the thing, right? If we go back to this one and actually have a look at what it should look like, we should be able to pass in 1 or 2 stocks. And if I pass in 1 stock, I should be able to write Goog. Let's see. I think I can do it smaller. Yeah. No. Okay. I have to do that. Huh. Interesting. Huh. Their app does not seem to work. Well, anyway, I should be able to pass in 1 stock here, and I should be able to like it if I want to, and I should be able to not like it if I want to. And if I passed in this one, then it should get saved. And if I pass it in again a second time, at a later point in time, if I didn't like it the first time, but I like it the second time, it should get updated, but not added again. And vice versa. So if I like it the first time, and then I pass it in a second time, and I don't like it, then it should get updated to not be not liked. It should not get removed. And I should also be able to pass in double stocks here to compare them. And when I do that, I should also be able to like, but I can only like both them. I cannot like one of them. If I want to do that, I have to pass in a single one. And that means that obviously that if I passed in Microsoft before and liked it, and now I pass in Google and Microsoft and I don't like either, then this one should get updated as well. So if I write Google and SFT here, get them, I should not get this external source error. I wonder if their API is broken. We'll see. Huh. This one is interesting to look at as well, right? Because this is relative likes. So -1 means that more people like Microsoft than Google. If I write APL here, which is Apple, you can see that more people like Apple than Google, and so on. And that's basically how that's supposed to work. But we'll see you in the next one.